Michael Olise, Jarrad Branthwaite, Man United first summer transfers decided in £135 million verdict. Manchester United are set for a tough summer transfer window without European football, but will still be expected to splash the cash. Manchester United have one big decision to make before making calls on transfer targets. Erik ten Hag oversaw the club's worst ever Premier League finish, and failure to win the FA Cup will leave United without European football next season. Men Sport understands that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is not totally sold on the Dutchman being his long-term coach and will make a call on his future before long. That's because transfer targets will need to be identified ahead of what could now be a tough summer, and whoever sits in the dugout will have influence over the club's pulling power. United are expected to offload a number of players this summer, with only 4 players, Rasmus Højlund, Alejandro Garnacho, Kobbie Mainoo, and Andre Onana, exempt from sales. Raphael Varane and Anthony Martial will leave when their contracts expire, with Casemiro also tipped to depart. Meanwhile, United will look for 2 centre-backs this summer, as well as potentially a central midfielder and attacker. Some areas need prioritising over others, and Men Sports United writers have had their say on who should be signed first. Isaac Johnson. Centre-back has to be the priority this window, and United have already set sights on Jarrad Branthwaite of Everton and Bayer Leverkusen invincible Edmund Tapsoba. The latter will be harder to sign, whereas United can capitalise on Everton's tight financial situation. The Toffees may look to offload players before June 30th in order to comply with Premier League spending rules within the current 3-year cycle. Branthwaite could be one to go to ease the cash burden, albeit an England squad inclusion for Euro 2024 could delay matters. Under the previous regime, negotiations for new United signings notoriously dragged out. Ratcliffe can show that it is indeed a new era at Old Trafford by acting quickly and securing Branthwaite before the start of Euro 2024 on June 14th. If not, landing him post-tournament when the new financial cycle is underway would be tougher. George Smith. With the amount of work that needs to be done to United's squad this summer, there is no right or wrong answer on what should be their leading objective. The club has pinpointed the centre-back, central midfield and attacking departments as the 3 positions they want to strengthen above all else. As problematic have United have found it in defence, particularly at centre-back this season, the midfield is in need of freshness. Casemiro has regressed, and Sofian Amrabat, over the course of the season, has demonstrated he is not good enough to provide United with the defensive nous and control that they need. Kobbie Mainoo and Bruno Fernandes are expected to remain staples in United's midfield next season, meaning the club needs to find the missing link to complement their respective capabilities. Mainoo has proven he is a progressive, forward-thinking player, meaning the focus has to be on finding Casemiro's replacement, who can come in and provide a layer of protection for the back 4. João Neves of Benfica has been linked with filling that role, while Amadou Onana of Everton is understood to be under consideration. But regardless of who ends up being the chosen candidate, United need to draft in a new defensive midfielder and rebuild that particular area within the spine of the team. Tom Doyle. Cast an eye across any area of the United squad for the 2024-25 season, and there have been big problems. They let in too many goals, don't score enough, lack creativity and athleticism, as well as leadership. No one signing is going to solve all those problems, but defence would be a good place to start, considering Erik ten Hag's side have been plagued by centre-back problems all season long. Raphael Varane is leaving on a free this summer, but it speaks volumes that ten Hag does not have even one centre-back he can rely on for form and fitness. Regulars Lisandro Martinez, Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof have suffered injuries and issues with form, with deputy Luke Shaw also out for much of the season. Johnny Evans will be 37 next January, while Willy Kambwala is promising but unproven. Coupled with Varane's exit, it makes a centre-back an absolute must, and Everton's Jarrad Branthwaite looks the right option at the right time. Everton are in financial difficulty and in need of selling players before the June 30th accounting deadline to avoid potential PSR breaches. United may, for once, be able to negotiate a favourable deal for themselves. At 21 years old, Branthwaite has shown plenty of promise, and looks the real deal with few weaknesses to his game, with a high ceiling for years of improvement. If United can negotiate a move for anything under £60 million, Branthwaite could be the equivalent of the £105 million deal Arsenal landed Declan Rice for last summer, one that initially looks expensive, but could prove to be underpriced if anything. Tom Coley. What United need to do and what they will do may well be two very different things entirely. Who knows what the first summer under Ineos with Sporting control will look like. A more cohesive recruitment setup feels likely, but that doesn't mean it will be immediately apparent just what they are after. More bang for their buck, fewer enormous signings, but more functionality, players that can be fitted to a certain manager, less individuals. That being said, they may have Bruno Fernandes to replace, and there's only one man fit to fill that void. Michael Olise is a must. Not just for Manchester United, but he should top every team's summer wish list. Olise is just that good. He is the sort of player that transforms a team yet still provides the ability to win games by himself. Build around Olise, separate a cheque prepared for Crystal Palace to write their price on, set aside £80 million to spend, and get Olise through the door. Kiefer MacDonald. Whether it be Erik ten Hag or someone else, it's fair to say a lot needs rectifying at Manchester United this summer. Of course, the Dutchman isn't solely responsible for United's 8th place finish in the Premier League, but if United are to transform their fortunes next season, then new faces are needed at Old Trafford this summer. The first of those should be Everton, and no doubt soon to be England international, Jarrad Branthwaite, who has enjoyed a stellar first season as a fully-fledged member of the Blues' first team at Goodison Park. The 21-year-old appeared in all but 3 of Everton's 38 Premier League games this season, and with the likes of Chelsea, Manchester City and Liverpool also linked with a move for the centre-back, it would be a huge statement of intent from Sir Jim Ratcliffe if he was able to strike a deal for Branthwaite in his first transfer window as a United shareholder. And with Raphael Varane leaving Old Trafford at the end of the season, United will need to act swiftly this summer can source an adequate replacement at the heart of defence. Josh Holland. Manchester United go into the summer transfer window with people outside the club having no idea what to expect under Ineos. What is important is ensuring the right profiles are signed and all parties riding the rollercoaster next season are in agreement with their arrival. They have relaxed with the mega money signings over the years, but certain players have been overpaid and haven't lived up to the expectation. I can't see Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford leaving, but I think one ending their time at the club is likely. United must sort their attack out this summer, but I do believe the most important area to address is in defence. Step forward Antonio Silva. It's no coincidence that players from Portugal are being regularly linked with a move to the big leagues, and the Benfica centre-back has the potential to be one of the best in Europe. Liverpool are said to be keen on signing him amid Arne Slot's arrival at Anfield, so it's vital that United make their move quickly. Jack Flintham. Manchester United will want to send a statement of intent in the summer, and nothing would say that more than if they decide to target a world-class centre-forward as their first main signing. This position has been neglected for too long, and their measly 57 goals in the Premier League is on a par with relegation-threatened Brentford. With Anthony Martial as good as gone, United probably need to sign 2 centre-forwards before next season begins. However, the first I would look to target should finances allow, is Victor Osimhen. We know the Napoli man is headed for the exit door, and the Premier League looks his most likely destination. He has shown these past 2 seasons that he can score goals at a good rate and will no doubt enhance whichever side he joins in the summer. This should also help to alleviate the pressure on Rasmus Højlund, who I am sure will prove to be a standout player for the Reds in years to come. But for now, United need a player like Osimhen who can help share the workload at the top of the pitch. Amy Wilson. While all the talk might be on Manchester United's attack, granted signing attacking players is probably more exciting, I think the emphasis should be on building from the back. The departure of Raphael Varane leaves United one man short at centre-back, and there is a slight uncertainty over Harry Maguire, given that he will have just 1 year remaining on his current deal when the transfer window opens. There have been reports that United are looking to complete an overhaul of their defence this summer. If that's the case, then concentration should be on getting players in that position as early as possible. One of the standout players who the Red Devils should target is Everton's Jarrad Branthwaite. At just 21 years old, the defender has excelled for the Toffees in the Premier League in the season just gone. He was a mainstay of Sean Dyche's team, who stayed up comfortably despite 2 separate points deductions. Sir Jim Ratcliffe has hinted that the club will be targeting up-and-coming players, and Branthwaite fits exactly that. Financial concerns at Everton means that they may also be able to get the centre-back at a slightly reduced price, with £55 million the figure mentioned, if he lives up to his potential. That could prove to be a bargain for United. Man United transfer, Arsenal move, Marcus Rashford verdict after England bombshell decision. Manchester United forward Marcus Rashford has been left out of England's squad for Euro 2024, so what next for him? Marcus Rashford is set to be excluded from England's provisional Euro 2024 squad after his disappointing season with Manchester United. The 26-year-old has been a constant in the Three Lions squads over the years, having been a regular under Gareth Southgate. He helped them reach the final of the competition in 2021 and played a key part in reaching the quarter-finals of the 2022 World Cup. However, he is set to face a summer at home after not making the cut in Southgate's provisional 30-man squad. Rashford will join the likes of Jordan Henderson, Raheem Sterling, and Ben Chilwell in missing out ahead of the tournament in Germany. After scoring 30 goals for United in the 2022-23 season, Rashford has performed way under his best standards in the past 12 months. In one of the worst Premier League seasons in the club's history, the forward managed just 8 goals in 42 appearances. The blow of missing out on the international tournament is the latest setback for Rashford. With uncertainty over his long-term future at Old Trafford, what is next for the United Academy graduate? Men's sport writers give their thoughts on Southgate's decision to axe Rashford and where he goes from here. Josh Holland. In every tournament squad announcement there is one player that misses out, and it's a huge talking point. Marcus Rashford is that case study this season, yet it's hardly surprising. Anyone who has watched United in action this season knows how much the forward has struggled. Despite the minimum moments of quality, he hasn't been good enough, and his form warrants a ruthless decision like this. He's usually been a nailed-on star for England, but his overall game has plummeted. There's no doubt that he is a talented player, but there are fears that this could be another chapter in the fall from grace for Rashford. The likes of Anthony Gordon, Eberechi, Ollie Watkins, and Jarrod Bowen all come into the tournament on the back of superb individual seasons and are more likely to carry that into the tournament. I've always viewed Rashford as an option off the bench for England, certainly now with Cole Palmer and Phil Foden nailed on starters, but there are simply better players. He must now reassess his options going forward. The blow of missing out for England will hurt, but he has to get his club football back on track to prove Southgate wrong. Tom Coley. Can Rashford really argue with this? It looks like Southgate is moving away from some of his tried and tested England picks over the years. Yes, Maguire will still be in there, but his performances for club and country warrant it more than Rashford, and there is a dearth of options at centre-back compared to going forward, and it feels like a good thing. There are too many good players that are in form to ignore. Ollie Watkins as a versatile channel runner and left-wing option over Rashford is a player more clinical and having the time of his life. If that frees up a spot elsewhere for a point of difference maker with Tony, then so be it. It has been 8 years since Rashford announced himself for England, and there can't be many complaints this time around. There has never been such a wealth of attacking talent as ready as this current group. The individual success of the group across Europe has outdone that of previous years. The task is now to make this work in a cohesive team and squad environment across 4 weeks in a major competition. Rashford will miss out and will struggle through the blow like others around him. Who knows, it may even push him towards a transfer this summer. Tom Doyle. Although Rashford has had a poor season for United, missing Euro 2024 will come as a genuine shock to the player and truly shows how far his stock has fallen. The hard truth for Rashford is that Southgate is blessed with generational talents in attack, and he is well down the pecking order, even taking into account his past successes for both club and country. Southgate doggedly stuck by Harry Maguire while the defender lost form and, eventually, the United captaincy, but the England boss never wavered over the centre-back's importance for his country. Could Rashford's off-field exploits have tipped the scales in Southgate's thinking here? The simple fact is that players who have had better seasons, and better attitudes, than Rashford are also missing out, so he is not alone in his disappointment, but this is a serious wake-up call at a critical point in his career. It is also a warning sign for United that Rashford joins Jadon Sancho in the England wilderness, when the club would have reasonably expected both to be talismanic starters for club and country not too long ago. Richard Cusack. There can't be much surprise about Rashford's omission from Southgate's squad, but at the same time it is a shock to see such a big name miss out on a place at Euro 2024. The big worry for Rashford is that Southgate has finally shown that he is ready to move in a slightly newer direction, with Jordan Henderson missing out too. Such are the options on offer to the England boss. Rashford really has to be in form to count on a Euro 2024 spot, and that just has not happened this season. What this does now is open up the chance of a move for the player, who will not be in the tournament bubble, and the June 30th unofficial FFP deadline is now a very realistic opportunity for United to move him on. At 26, Rashford still has a lot to offer but needs to show it more consistently to avoid being left behind altogether. Dominic Booth. Take away any kind of United bias, and the simple fact is Marcus Rashford does not merit inclusion in the England squad for Euro 2024. It's been a far worse club season for Rashford than anyone could have imagined. His record of 7 goals in 33 Premier League appearances, which includes 2 penalties, actually flatters him. Gareth Southgate has myriad options in Rashford's position, so the England boss has done the logical thing and selected other players ahead of the United man. It will always be a big story when a player of Rashford's profile misses out on a tournament, but it's a surprise to nobody that he's missed out this time. Stephen Killen. The Three Lions boss has been accused of sticking to his favourites and including them in squads, despite a lack of form and or being out of favour. In what could be his final competition in the hot seat, it is a bold move, but in terms of Marcus Rashford, it isn't really. His United form has been a concern and his role in the England squad has been consistently fading. The likes of Bukayo Saka, Jack Grealish, Phil Foden and Jarrod Bowen have emerged as more viable options in the wide attacking spots, plus the emergence of Eberechi, who has been called up. There are more threatening options with better qualities in that department. You wonder whether this is the beginning of the end of his international career for England. Unless his club form improves at or away from Old Trafford, you fear it very well may be. Tyrone Marshall. This isn't the first time Marcus Rashford has been dropped by England. Last season he has fought a way back into the squad by enjoying the season of his life at United, but that increasingly feels like a one-off. His performance levels have plummeted this season and the competition in attacking areas is vibrant. Anthony Gordon has offered more in the Premier League this season, and Ivan Toney is a better third-choice striker. That is just where Rashford is at the moment. It might be surprising he doesn't make what is a provisional squad before it's cut to 26, that is probably an indication that he was never going to make it in the 26, so why keep him around now? Maybe the long summer break will help him. His body language and off-pitch issues this season are also warning signs when it comes to tournament football, especially for a player who is only likely to be on the fringes. You need good tourists in that situation, and it wouldn't be a surprise if Gareth Southgate had concerns about that. George Smith. With an embarrassment of riches in attack, Gareth Southgate was going to have to leave someone out. And Marcus Rashford, based on his performances this season, can have no complaints. His performance levels have taken a significant nosedive this term, resulting in him scoring just 8 goals in all competitions for United. Southgate, correctly, has cited his form as the sole reason behind his commission from the squad, and it is impossible to disagree with the England boss. The fact he has been left out of the provisional squad ahead of Southgate cutting his final squad down to just 26 players tells you everything about how out of favour he currently is. As painful as it will be for him to watch this summer's tournament from home, you would hope that will serve as his motivation to get his career back on track at Old Trafford next season and reclaim his place in the England squad as soon as possible. Isaac Selekan. The right decision for England and Rashford, who could perhaps do with a wake-up call after a season of drift. He's not the only one you could say that about at United, of course. Time will tell if the academy graduate will come anywhere near last season's form again. But make no mistake that if his name wasn't Marcus Rashford, then he would be anywhere near the Three Lions squad based on this season's form. It came as a surprise to me considering Southgate's previous form of picking players based on reputation. However, it's a good sign for England that in his final tournament, the England manager has been ruthless in choosing who he takes. Rashford can have no complaints, and I'm sure he privately agrees.